there are two things that I now find myself agreeing with Marjorie fucking Taylor Greene on. That ain't right.
Once more, I
I mean,
agree,
I agree with her for vastly different reasons than she holds those. But like, the other thing that I agree with her on is that Israel is the bad guy in the Israel versus Palestine thing.
Yeah, but she says that because she's
she thinks that because she's anti-Semitic.
Like
I think that because genocide bad.
Yeah, that's a very we are not the same type of moment.
Yes. We both arrived at the right answer, but she in the show your work part, she got it all wrong. But anyway, so Cassie N says, what the fuck is wrong with Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene at a press conference with a backdrop labeling Trump as a pedophile? Ro Khanna played MTG for a fool. So this was the press conference where the Epstein victims came out and were like, we're just going to release our own list if you guys won't do it. And Marjorie Taylor Greene has been supporting them in that. And I'm like, yeah, no, anyone that, like, the longer they cover it up, the more I think there's actually something there. Because, like, before I was like, there's probably not a client list. There might be one or two people that joined in with his games or whatever that is absolutely abhorrent. And, like, yeah, I would like to know who those are. But, like a lot of times, like, people will not be paying close enough attention to notice stuff like that going on. But like, the more Trump tries to hide it, the more he denies that, like, oh, no, that wasn't my picture of a young lady that I signed, used my signature as the pubic hair, and wrote a creepy poem that was very clearly referencing fucking kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I don't think there was an actual, like, list, but the more Trump tries to hide it, the more convinced I am that there is one and he's on it. So, yeah, I find myself agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene again. But she's just hopped on it because she's a conspiracy-minded nutbag.
Welcome to America. On this season of America, guess what else is going to happen? More random bullshit.
I mean, is this the fracture of the GOP that we need?
So, here's the thing. The GOP fractures all... The thing that I've noticed, the GOP fractures all the fucking time. They fractured over the last Trump presidency. They fractured with Elon. They're fracturing here. They fracture all the goddamn time. The problem is that when it comes time for voting, they always do so along party lines. When it comes time for voting for voters, they almost always do it along their party lines. The GOP can fracture a billion times. It doesn't matter. It's never mattered. It has never started fucking mattering. It just doesn't matter. It keeps happening. We keep watching it happen.
Suris, I need hope. Stop this. This is bad.
I apologize.
Especially with the fucking Democrat dark money stuff that...
Yep, I've got to cover that shit
When I finally
tomorrow.
got around to reading an article on that, I was very surprised to find out it was Brian Tyler Cohen. I thought he was a lot more progressive than that. But I guess he's kind of a shitbag.
No, I've got to cover I have to cover that tomorrow when I get a chance. The problem is that my ability to stream is, kind of fucky-wucky at the moment. But
yeah, you've been cutting in and out of this one.
I'm sorry. I wish I wasn't. But I really, really, really want the hope of just things are going to get better in regards to the GOP. We're going to see a fractured split. But every single time the fracture happens, it's long enough to make headlines. And then everything goes back to the status quo. We saw this with Elon Musk and his stupid America Party. It was there long enough for the media attention. And then he walked it back. This keeps happening. It ceases to matter.
Yeah.
Jassa says, do you think there will be enough of a fracture once the cult leader falls off the mortal coil? No. I'm sorry, but okay, I'm going to go on a fucking rant. So, and this is not your fault, Jassa. This has to do with politics in general. Everybody who watches politics for entertainment but does not study the history of political leaders, political parties, etc. And to be fair, I'm not the best student of these things either. So this is not me pointing a finger saying that I'm better than X person. I'm not. I don't study this shit near as well as I should. But we have a habit as human beings of never, ever, 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 ever looking at big picture. And I'm not meaning like, oh, you need to vote this way in order to make sure that we keep the big picture in mind. No, not like that. Big picture, as in what is actually happening in the scope of a party. Because nothing politically is all because of one event. There's always a buildup over weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months. And sometimes that stuff just gets thrown under the rug, or sometimes none of that stuff gets reported because it's disagreements that are happening behind closed doors. But the fact of the matter is, we have a habit as human beings of looking at things as if there is one big event that is going to signal that things will change, or one big event that is going to signal that things are going to pivot. And to be fair, brainwashed is not the right word for it, but we've kind of been led to believe that's what's going to happen because we are a very media-centric society. We have a lot of media that focuses on the big event that changes everything. That's how you make a story. That's how you write a plot. We've been conditioned by a lot of the media we've consumed that there's going to be a moment. There's never going to be a moment. There's 1,000 tiny micro moments. And we are not very good at keeping track of the 1,000 tiny micro moments.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Cat Turd.
Yay!
So New York Post has an article, says, COVID and the flu can trigger dormant cancer cells in your lungs study. Cat Turd says, oh, for fuck's sake, with a bunch of vaccine things. Now, my lefty brain saw this and was like, he's encouraging people to get vaccinated because clearly that headline says that COVID and the flu trigger dormant cancer cells, not the COVID and flu vaccines trigger dormant cancer cells.
But he's just going like, no, you had the jab. That's bad.
Yeah. So but like, not even the headline agrees with him on this. But I also took a screenshot from the article. Like, this is directly from the article that he posted. The breast surgeon at Staten Island University Hospital said the study underscores the importance of preventative strategies for The study underscores the importance of preventative strategies for respiratory viruses, such as vaccination. It's like his own goddamn source says that vaccine mitigates this. Fennec says, I got my COVID shot today. I don't think there's a new shot available for me at the moment. I'll have to look into that. I mean, get the same one again if you can. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Because the immunity does taper out over time. And COVID has all sorts of nasty things. And the more frequently you get COVID, the more likely you are to get long COVID. And long COVID is shit from what I've seen. Like, used to be one of my favorite YouTube channels is the Physics Girl, where she would just go places and do physics stuff. And she was very entertaining to watch, very informative, and it was great. Reference to her videos in some of my videos sometimes. She got long COVID. And only just within the last couple months, like she got it at the beginning of the pandemic, and only just within the last couple months, she's been posting update videos where it's like, I'm finally able to like walk to the window and look out the window and not just be exhausted by seeing other people do things.
That's sad.
Yes. And that is not an uncommon thing to happen when you get long COVID. She got a very extreme case of it, but there are other people with the same thing. It's like, get your fucking COVID shots. Because if you have the COVID shot, you're way less likely to get COVID in the first place. If you do get it, it's going to be more mild, and it's way less likely to develop into long COVID.
Senchidi says, yeah, pro-diseasers cannot even get headlines right. Yeah, that's because so when you're anti-vax, it tells me that you don't know how to read.
The article's not even anti-vax. Like, it's the New York Post, so I forgive you for assuming that it was. But, like, this is right from the article. Vaccines are important, says the article that Cat Turd says is showing a link between vaccines and cancer. And it's like, no, not getting the vaccines. Like, I read the article, and I read a bit of the study. Study was over my head, and I didn't feel like delving into it to figure it out. Basically, my understanding is that it's the prolonged inflammation. So the longer you have whatever respiratory virus it is, the more likely it is to reignite. And this is in people that have had cancer before. It like would reignite them and cause them to metastasize. But it's the inflammation that does it, and it's the long inflammation. So like if you have the shot and then you get COVID and you've only had it for a couple days and you're not inflamed, that's fine. If you actually get COVID and you have it and it knocks you out for like a month and a half, that's an issue. So
Wolves Rain says, how much I miss. I'm in a different state right now. Not much there other than that.
State of denial.
I mean,
about my brilliant light bulb joke. Moving on, we've got more cat turd coming up. I'm sorry. He said, this past few weeks, Trump has Democrats cheering on high crime in cities, illegals, drug smugglers, the cartel, transgender terrorists. What else?
All right. So one by one, nobody is celebrating high crime in cities. What the fuck are you talking about? Two, illegals.
People aren't illegal.
You mean people? You mean people? Yeah, we
Human
celebrate people wanting to be in the United States, because that seems to be what you're describing. And yet, hell yeah,
I thought
hell yeah,
the American dream.
Hell yeah, Norther! I'm celebrating people trying to get into in the United States. America's great. Well, yeah. Drug smugglers. I'm sorry, but I don't know who's actually celebrating that in general. By the way, drug smuggling would not be a thing if we, legalized most drugs. Anywho, the cartel. Again, once more, a thing that would not be a thing if we legalized most drugs.
Yeah, get rid of the war on drugs, you get rid of the cartels immediately, pretty much.
And transgender terrorists, are you talking about a mass shooter who people can't even fucking agree on whether or not the person was trans in the first place?
Was there some doubt on that? Last I heard, it was pretty solid that they were trans.
Let me go ahead and check, because I have seen nothing but back and forth on this.
Okay. I mean, last time I checked was last week, so I don't exactly have the most recent stuff. But also, like, as we emphasized last week, even if it does turn out that they were trans, you look at the statistics. Like, who is doing the mass shootings? Overwhelmingly straight cis white guys. Overwhelmingly. Like, the trans people are underrepresented. If anything, like, if this
is like the fifth one in 20 years, but the real thing is not to sit here and try to argue the minutia of whether or not the person's trans. The better thing to do is to look at Cat Turd and go, who is celebrating a shooter?
Nobody.
Who is celebrating a shooter? If the answer is nobody, then what the fuck are you talking about? I don't give a flying fuck if the shooter's trans. It doesn't change anything. They were still a mass shooter. Who cares?
This reminds me of when the Gamergate people started latching on to, I forget the name of the game, but there was some game that came out that was kind of a mediocre game, but like the protagonist was in really, really skimpy clothes. And so the Gamergate crew were all like, oh, finally, a non-woke game. And they all made videos about how everybody was freaking out about it. But the freak out was entirely one French language IGN article that said it's kind of like...
You're talking about Stellar Blade?
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure it's
the article
Stellar
said something... That sounds familiar. But the article was something like, the developers clearly have never seen a woman before. But like everything else about it was they liked the game. But because they wrote that one line, the Gamergate crew latched onto that and be like, oh, the left are freaking out about this non-woke game.
You have to manufacture the freak out wherever you can, I guess.
Spoonbill of Adam says, people talk about downtown Ottawa like it's a war zone filled with roving gangs of unhoused criminals, things people fall for. I haven't been to Ottawa in a long time. I do not remember it being anything like that when I was there, but admittedly, that was a long, long time ago. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, nobody's celebrating any of these things except for the one that is just people. People trying to live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And people on whom the economy is very heavily reliant. So like, even just from a practical standpoint, if you're just like all about the money and line go up, illegal, you shouldn't have made it so hard to legally enter the country if you rely on that much labor from immigrants.
Dragonic says Lollipop Chainsaw. Lollipop Chainsaw was like 20 years ago. I hate to make you feel old, but that predates Gamergate.
Am unfamiliar with Lollipop Chainsaw.
It was an old Xbox 360 game about killing a bunch of zombies with a chainsaw while playing as a skimpily dressed cheerleader, and you had like her boyfriend on a chain because it was just his head. Like you lopped off his head and he was a sentient head on a chain.
Okay, yeah, but that sounds like a stupid game that knew what it was.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay, so like that, I can get behind that. That sounds stupid. That sounds stupid and fun. But the what game were we talking about earlier? Star or something?
Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade was the one that they were talking about like last year.
Yeah, so Stellar Blade. That one. My understanding is that there was like zero reason for her to be dressed skimpily in the story at all. Like there was no sex in the game. There was no sexualization. It was just here's a lady in a skimpy outfit for no reason.
Well, and it turns out a lot of that was because you could customize her outfit. Like
I think Sean did a video on that. Just I hate his fucking channel name because it's just like that sounds pretentious being like, oh yeah, no, Sean did a video on that. But no, that's his channel name. It was just Sean. Like he I forget the situation, the setup, but it was like you just find out that another character's child has died and you are the one to deliver the news. And so for a laugh, he put on the skimpiest outfit that you can put her in to deliver the news, and everything still plays extremely straight with no acknowledgement of the fact that I'm telling you about your dead child while wearing a thong bikini in the middle of a war zone. It's just, that's one of those things where it's like, you can put scantily clad women in your games if you want, just make it mean something or have some effect on the game or something.
I don't care either way. I think you can put characters in whatever costume the artist wants to put them in. I don't think
yeah, but I feel like there should like it should fit in with the world in some way.
I mean, so that yes, there should be some artistic consistency between your character and the world that they're inhabiting. I agree with that. But like I don't think it matters all that much. I really don't.
Yeah, but like this game was like a post-apocalyptic hellscape where you're fighting monsters. It doesn't make sense to wear a thong bikini through that.
Right, but again, that's
there's no
an outfit.
Reason for it.
But again, that's an outfit that the player chose to put the character in, not the outfit they're canonically supposed to be wearing throughout the story.
I should have known the fucking big-titted cat would agree with that.
Yeah, just video games are art, and sometimes artists are horny, man. What the fuck are you gonna do?
Okay. Answers in Genesis says creationists and evolutionists have the same facts but different interpretations. Yeah, and some interpretations are objectively wrong.
Yeah, you can have a wrong interpretation, like
and AIG
not
also
having
ignores
scantily
a lot
clad
of the
women in your
facts.
game just because of artistic anything.
Fuck you. Fuck you. You know, I have the idea bulb, so I'm the one whose ideas matter here.
Yeah, but it's like behind the hat, so
Yeah,
it's an obscure idea at best.
There, now it's positioned correctly.
Yeah, but now your back's gonna hurt.
A little bit.
How's it going, Lilith?
So Don Volos replied to that with, that's because evolution is a weapon.
What?
Evolution's a weapon.
For what?
To be wielded while wearing a bikini.
Exactly. See, now we're on the same page. Also, why is Stellar Blade still $60? Can we get that price dropped?
Apparently, Silk Song's going to be $20.
I mean, it's a new game from a AAA studio, so I understand that they're gonna hold that price for as long as they can.
Fucking Silk Song could get away with it if they wanted to.
Yeah, I know.
I'd pay $60 for it if it came out.
I'm aware. I'm not so like here. I will never be the person to say that video games deserve to be more expensive. I think video games should be cheaper. What I'm saying is that I understand why they would try to hold the price as long as they can, because that's what high money developers do, and I hate it because we don't need video games with all of that fucking fidelity. It's not necessary. You could make good games with less.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be 4K. Yeah, no, I have mixed feelings about that because on the one hand, like, yeah, no, I would like games to be more accessible to more people, and it hurts to pay $60 for a game and then realize you don't like it, and oh shoot, I played it just long enough that now I can't get a refund.
Yep.
Like that sucks. I get it. But then on the flip side, like if you find a game you like and you play that for hundreds of hours, how many dollars per hour have you just spent on your entertainment for that? Like Hollow Knight, I think I got it when it was $12, and I have over 1,000 hours in there. I'm fractions of a penny per hour.
Yeah, but I
that
also
I've paid for
I don't like the
lots and lots of entertainment.
I don't like the hours to money conversion for games as any kind of argument, because like at that point the inverse becomes true. You get developers that bloat games so that there's more stuff in there to justify the game being what it is, and you don't need games with bloat.
I get that too, but then also like I think it is still valid though, because like you look at something like a movie, you go out to the theater. That's like for just me and my partner. If we get snacks while we're there, that's like $75 for like an hour and a half. So like, it's just that like the amount of money you spend per hour of entertainment, assuming it's actually good entertainment. But that's part of the argument from bloat, where like I fucking hate games where you like the tutorial itself is long enough that now you can't refund it in order to get through the tutorial.
And like the other thing that you have to factor in is that time. First of all, Georgica TTV, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. And Trashermancer, thank you for resubscribing. But a thing that I really, really need to do a video on at some point, honestly, is the fact that with video games, or with any media at all, the entertainment value does not stop merely because you've stopped engaging with the media itself. For instance, you go and watch a new movie that a bunch of your friends are going to go watch, and then you guys are going to talk about that movie afterwards. Your entertainment from that movie is now spilling over into other things. Now you're excitedly talking about this and bonding with your friends more over this shared experience. And the same thing can be true of video games. It's one of the reasons why, like, my favorite RPG is Chrono Trigger. And Chrono Trigger is a 12 to 15 hour RPG. That is very short for a JRPG. That is incredibly short compared to the usual length of time people spend on those games. But there is no JRPG I can think of that I have had more meaningful conversations about with friends of mine who have also enjoyed that RPG. The amount of hours that I have gotten out of that game as entertainment far supersede when the end credits rolled.
So I think you're overcomplicating it though, because that same thing applies to both games and TVs and movie.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that you can have a short experience, like at a movie, that you then get more entertainment out of afterwards. That has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with how long the thing was.
Sure. Ultimately, though, what it comes down to is the big studios are producing shit and overcharging for it. For a lot of them.
Look, one of my biggest
issues, so I hear. I'm not much of a gamer because I have my one game that I play for 1,200 hours.
I mean, I will say that I felt that way with Dark Excalibur says you're just arguing for adding hours to the calculation. I agree. I mean, yeah, your hours of calculation have less to do with the time playing the game. Like, I spend more time engaging with Magic by building decks and fucking with my collection than I do actually playing Magic, as much as I love playing Magic. That shit happens. I spend more time talking about Sonic.
And he still pays $100 an hour for his Magic stuff.
It's true. Like, I spend more time talking about Sonic than I do playing Sonic. I spend more time talking about Resident Evil than I do playing Resident Evil. These are still some of my favorite things in the entire fucking planet. But I do spend more time doing tertiary things in regards to those media than constantly engaging with the media directly. And I think I've gotten plenty out of them as a result. There was a thing that I was responding to in the beginning, and I don't remember what it was. I have long since ADHD'd past that.
Yeah, me too.
Dark Excalibur says, so Rhino's correct. He's just not counting all the hours accurately. So I think it's not so much that one of us is right or wrong. I don't think that that's where either of us are trying to go on there. If a game...
It's just a matter of how you consider value.
Yeah, because, like, so if a game is 60 hours of slop, It's just slop that is meant to like Skinner box you through it so that you spend a lot of time on it. You're not going to really spend a lot of time talking with your friends about that. So, I mean, you just kind of threw that 60 hours into a blender. But if you're playing, like, say, an MMORPG is going to take you 60 hours just to get halfway through the fucking leveling system. Like, that's going to take some time. But if you're playing that with your friends, and then you're talking about strategies and builds and shit with your friends afterwards, you're getting all of that there.
I've discovered a flaw in your reasoning, Suris.
Okay.
You have assumed that I have friends.
Hi, I'm here.
Yeah, but I don't play the same games as you, so we don't talk about this ever.
Right, but we're doing a media exchange where you want me to go through Hollow Knight, and I need to get a game for you to go through.
That's right. Did you decide on a game for that?
I kind of want to see you go through the remake of Resident Evil 1.
Okay.
You can beat that in 5 hours. At least one of the campaigns. There's 2 campaigns.
Okay.
And if I'm being honest, that is like a formative game from my childhood.
So you're going to be really disappointed when I don't like it.
I mean, you can not like a thing. That's okay.
Yeah.
Dark Excalibur says, oh, I agree. I'm just being a gremlin. Yeah. Sean Helfin says, again, get Sonic. Okay, but look, the only Sonic game I could recommend to Rhino would be one that's good. And
new hat.
At that point, I'm just recommending Shadow Generations.
Hat, Jassa. Duckies. We haven't seen the Duckies in a while.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it. Just a little bit.